And then you start coloring. In those areas you want translucency or supported translucency, you color the blue.
那我们可以在我们想要觉得有透明感的地方涂上蓝色的染色液。
And the more often you apply, the more intense it gets.
那我们还可以再加强一点点涂刷。
And of course, I want the blue only on the. I only want the blue on the incisal area.
他想要蓝色就在这些他现在涂刷的地方。
So I'm asking the dentists, do you always have, or do you sometimes have the feeling that zirconia is too bright?
那他有问过医生的，你有觉得有时候氧化锆感觉上太白吗？看起来过白吗？
Yes, it is. It's zirconia.
那答案是肯定的。
And well, you need to color it properly, then it's not as bright anymore.
那假设说我们将氧化锆染色上色的话，它就不会看起来那么的死白。
The same you apply to anterior teeth.
那一样的，我们将蓝色涂布到前牙的部分。
Okay, so to get rid of my reflection of the very, very bright zirconia, I am applying violet.
那对于很白的氧化锆的话，我们可以增加一点点紫色在上面。
It's for the absorbing the light. So zirconia is a very reflective material.
它可以吸收一点点光。
So it reflects the light very easy.
就很容易反射光线。
So, and we want to avoid this. So we apply a color to it, so the color is not getting reflected, getting absorbed.
那我们想要避免就是光线反射的太多，可以让它吸收一点点光线。
And this is why I use a little bit of violet.
那这就是为什么我们要添加一点点紫色的原因。
First question usually is, can I do this faster? It's up to you. Do you have to do this? No, you don't have to do this. But then don't complain about the color.
那有人会问说，那我可以做快一点吗？那就是说，假设说你不这样慢慢做的话，你也是可以得到一个牙齿，但是效果可能就没有出来，呈现出来的效果可能就没有自然的漂亮。
Well, that's so easy. You know, it's like Yes, it is a little bit time involving, but it looks totally different than dipping.
它虽然有一点点就是步骤上虽然有一点点不一样，但是扯出就是出来的效果跟浸泡的一定差不多。
And the gray I'm using on those areas, we want where, for example, an anterior teeth, I have absolutely translucency, like in between the marmelons, for example. I apply a little bit gray there to create a shadow, to create more of a shadow.
那比如说在马梅洞之间，它看起来会透明，自然牙看起来会更加的透明。啊，如果你想要有那种透明的阴影的层次感的话，你可以在马梅洞之间添加灰色的颜色。
And the same on the molar.
然后后牙的部分也是一样的涂刷。
Okay, now the next questions. Can everybody can do this? Everybody can do this who can imagine how a natural tooth is built up. Because you have to think, how looks my dentin and how looks my incisal? How is this naturally built up?
那我们在做这个的时候，必须对我们自然牙有一点点的颜色上有一点点的印象，那我们才知道颜色要分布在哪一个区块。
And then you can apply this.
然后我们就假设说你知道这一些的话，你就可以很精准的将颜色就是涂刷上去。
Otherwise you apply in colors and you don't really know what you're doing there. It's like driving a car without a license.
所以如果没有对这个颜色的分布这些有一些基本的概念的话，就很像是在无照驾驶一样。
And then I apply my dentin color, like to get the real base color for my tooth.
那他现在就开始涂上一些主体的颜色，就给牙齿一些基本的颜色。
Now I make my 3-2-1 technique. So on the cervical area, I go 3 times.
那他开始3-2-1涂刷法，那他在齿颈部的地方涂3次。
On the other, two quarters, I go 2 times.
那在中段的地方，他涂刷了2次。
And again, I place the colors this way that I support my dentine structure.
这个就是一个非常好在涂刷点听这个颜色的时候的一个技巧。
And the last stroke covers everything. Now, everything is yellow.
那在涂完之后，你会发现全部都是黄色的。
So if you jump back and forth,
如果你来回的涂刷，
you cannot really tell what you're doing.
那你根本就看不出来你哪边涂了几次。
So on the palatinal, for example, I go more intense.
那在二侧的部分，它可以更加的强调它的颜色。
Usually it's more worn off, there's less incisal, so the color is a little more intense. So just do a little more color there.
在二侧的地方，可能是因为比较少，因为接触摩擦，就是磨耗，所以它的颜色上面会比甲侧更加的丰富。
And then to solve more of those reflections, I color also on the inside.
那为了让整个色调更加的统一，它会在 牙冠的内层部分涂刷一次。
Otherwise, it's reflecting from the inside out.
那不然的话，有可能就是牙齿会显得比较白一些些。
And the same with the molar. You do the 3-2-1 technique. You start at the cervical area.
然后后牙的部分也是一样的涂刷。
Then you're supporting your dentine up to the incisal.
那在靠近切端的部分稍微涂个2次。
And then you go up to the incisal up there.
然后一笔的将最后就是一笔带过切端的所有的部分。
Last stroke again on the incisal edge.
一
So
样在靠近切端的部分一样把一笔涂刷完成。
still everything yellow. I can't tell, if I didn't count properly, I cannot tell how many strokes I did there. Impossible.
那就跟刚刚讲的一样，就是因为它涂完就全部呈现黄色，那你很难去判断哪边是涂3层涂1次。
And now on the occlusion, I want the fissure more intense than my incisal tip. I create a little pond.
那在咬合面的部分，我想要在咬窝的部分，就是更能够呈现出它的深浅的颜色，所以我稍微将笔尖稍微低在上方，然后稍微压一下。
Like this, and then I just take the excess and put it to my incisal tips.
那剩余的部分就用笔尖轻轻带过。
This way, my deep spots are more colorful than my exposed parts. Yes, there's brown and there's orange. Don't use them.
那在咬窝的地方，我们只需要像这样子滴一下，然后并且压一下这样涂刷。那如果你想要用棕色或橘色，它的建议是，比较不建议这个涂刷棕色或橘色的颜色。
Only diluted, mixed with water, not pure.
不然就要稍微混在一起用。
Up to you. Make test samples.
那你如果觉得他这个建议不好的话，你其实可以自己尝试一下。
And then again on the inside, do 1 stroke on the inside.
那里面一样就是轻轻的再涂刷过一遍。
So what's going on now? Now you put it under a heating lamp, red light for 20 to 40 minutes, and you do a sintering overnight. It takes between 7 and 12 hours. Depends on the zirconia and the result you want to achieve.
然后我们现在染完之后，就可以放在就是红外线灯下照射大约20到30分钟，等候干燥。之后强化净轮，在差不多一整个晚上的强化净轮时间，就可以将氧化膏烧制完成。
Can I do it faster? Can I do speed sintering? You're working with insulators. Do I have to tell more?
我们其实不是那么需要去快速的烧结它。
So zirconia is everything else than fast working.
氧化膏是一项需要时间的一个材料。
For PFM, for example, 1 firing cycle is between 18 and 22 minutes.
那比如说以金属罐为例的话，就是烧一次的话，大概 大概18到20分钟左右。
For zirconia, minimum half an hour,
那
one cycle.
那对氧化锆而言的话，就是一个循环下来大概需要1个小时。
And this depends not on the technician, this depends on how much units, how big is my zirconia block there.
那烧瓷就是时间的话，并不是你想要快就快，因为它取决于材料的特性，然后以及你的验附体的单位有多少。
So if I have, for example, a huge case like a fragile bridge, like a full arch,
然后假设说我们有一整口的背透的验附压体，
if everything works fine, I can do maximum 2 fires per day.
如果工作流程都很顺利的话，我最多一天只能烧2次。
So everybody who does it more fast is like jumping out of a 10th floor without any net.
如果你想要更快的话，欲速则不达。
It's unsecure.
就是说烧太快的话，对于你的验附体而言不是一个很安全的一个选项。
So like a cycle of that, it's about 55 to an hour and 10 minutes. Like 1 hour.
对，差不多要1个小时。
And then it's still hot. So it's an insulator. You're working with an insulator. Zirconia is an insulator. So it keeps the energy, the heat, very, very long. So even if the furnace is open, the furnace shows 200 degrees Celsius, the object is still 450 degrees Celsius, so you cannot touch it.
那氧化锆它是一个升温跟降温都很慢的材料，即便你可能炉门打开显示250度，那氧化锆本身的温度基本上还是很高，大概400度左右。
So it takes another hour and a half to cool down that you can start grinding.
所以它可能需要1-2个小时的时间去等待它冷却，慢慢冷却。
2.5 hours, you can do something else.
那在这段等待的期间，我们就可以做一些其他的工作。
So 5 hours per day firing on 1 arch.
那
So
他一整天就花了5个小时的时间在烧制一个全口的验附体。
and then build up, you have 2 hours, 2.5 hours for build up.
然后花2个小时的时间去堆出这些瓷粉。
And then you have to be really fast
那
for doing this.
这已经算是很快的流程。
So how many fires do you need for such a fragile bridge to finish, start to finish?
那我们需要多少的烧制的流程去完成一个 Preto Bridge 的牙桥的验附体？
Just to give you a number.
那大概给你们
Any ideas from you?
有人想要大概给他一个想法吗？如果
Two
烧一个
3,
全口的氧化锆，
4? Who thinks 2 just raises the arm?
有觉得需要2个小时的，请举手。
Who thinks 3 raises the arm?
3个小时的那个，
4?
烧结吗？
就是堆瓷。
哦，堆瓷而已，堆瓷而已，不是说堆瓷而已。
才可以有奖啊！
堆瓷。
你要问我什么奖？